Welcome to SVGTV News for Wednesday, May 13th, 2015. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Principal of the George Stevens Secondary School, Dr. George Bristol, is encouraging his students to use their education to have a more analytical view of the world. Dr. Bristol was speaking at the opening of the school's career fair held early today under the theme, Empowering Youths Making Positive Career Choices in the 21st Century. He advised students to ponder work on their career path. At the fair, students modeled work clothes displaying their career field of choice and got the opportunity to hear from experts at the booths that were set up on the school's ground. The principal encouraged the students to take a broader and a more systematic approach in their reasoning and says that getting an education is not just about reading, writing, and arithmetic.
I want to say to you young people that the education you are getting should teach you to read the world around you. And that is significant. You must be able to look at the world and to predict where the world will be in the next 10 years. And that is very important if you are going to develop a socio-political and economic understanding of the way the world works.
Dr. Bristol says the world is running on ideas and the power of knowledge, and that as students, they must train their minds to provide a service to become employable.
Today, they don't bother with those things. They can make sugar from beet, or they can make synthetic sugar. Today, as I speak to you, you might not even be conscious of it. But knowledge is becoming the key factor of production. Knowledge. Not our ability to plant yams and sugar anymore. Knowledge is the key factor of production. And because knowledge is the key factor of production, what we find is that many poor countries, including business, stand to be sidelined, to be marginalized in this world, because guess why? We do not have the kind of knowledge and experiences we need to face the world.
IT expert in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Philia Alexander, is encouraging students to embrace technology. Alexander says almost every working environment utilizes technology in some form, and having greater knowledge puts one at an advantage. He says when considering the IT field, things like setting up a website should take careful study to ensure that it appeals to visitors.
Who will be visiting my website? What is the age group that will be visiting? So you have to take into consideration, okay, I might want to use certain colors to, draw them in. I might want to use certain jargon. So for instance, if you're dealing with people in the scientific region, or scientific field, you might want to use certain scientific terms that would, aid them. So this is things that you must consider, whether or not the person is young, whether or not they're old and what's not. So if they're old, you might want to use font size that is, large rather than small.
The IT expert told the students while there should be a targeted approach to getting persons logged on to a website, a good site ensures that it reaches out to different persons.
Another thing is language. Is there a requirement to support, another language? Because you have to take into consideration the world is not only limited to St. Vincent. We go beyond the regions, we go beyond borders. So we're talking about when you're building your website, it must be accessible to people all over the world. So you might want to have a particular function that would enable a person to change from the English language to, French, Dutch, whatever it is that you need. Another thing to consider also is culture, and culture also plays a big role within, everyday society. So when we talk about culture, they have many visible and non-visible aspects to culture.
As the University of the West Indies, the UWI, continues to lay the groundwork to meet its strategic perspectives, objectives and targets under its current strategic plan for 2012-2017, the Open Campus here will tomorrow launch a development project in celebration of these goals. The project is sponsored by national, regional, and international donor organizations, including the governments of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Lucia, the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB, and the government of Canada's Department of Foreign Affairs. The project involves the development of UWI open campus sites in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Lucia to enhance the physical facilities of the open campus while developing its academic programming and building institutional capacity in order to strengthen the delivery of distance education for the social and economic development of the Caribbean region. Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves will be the main speaker at the launching event tomorrow. Other speakers will include the High Commission of Canada to Barbados and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, His Excellency Richard Hanley, Director of Projects, CDB, Michelle Cross-Fenty, and Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal Acting of the UWI Open Campus, Dr. Luz Longsworth. Head of Open Campus St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Deborah Dalrymple, will chair the event, which is expected to begin at 9 a.m. A total of 4 lounges located at the top floor of the Argyle International Airport building are currently being retrofitted. Chief Executive Officer of the International Airport Development Company, Dr. Rudy Matthias, says they are at the moment engaged in work on the last floor of the terminal building to have it operable within the next few months.
There will be 2 lounges for VVIPs and VIP. These are the people like Your Excellency, the Governor General, and the Prime Minister when they are traveling. And the entourage will be using the VIPs. So those 2 lounges are going to be managed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they are on the very top floor with very nice views of the apron. And we are also making 2 other lounges that will be available for rent or lease to any airline company that wants to run them, or any business for that matter that wants to run them, to cater to first class and business class people who want to use those lounges. So this is one of the ways that we're going to try to make some money for the airport to cover the operating cost of the airport.
Dr. Matthias adds that while they continue with retrofitting and construction work on the international airport site, they are also setting up contracts with different types of firms to offer a variety of services upon its completion.
So you must have seen recently that we advertised for persons to send in proposals to us to take up space in the airport, in the terminal building, to set up stores, duty-free shops, retail shops, bars and restaurants. And we are expecting several responses by the end of June, 30th of June. We're expecting these responses so that we can go ahead and evaluate them and make awards to different firms to put up their stores and shops in the terminal building. We have already approved to make a contract with Lime to provide voice and data communication. So Lime is the telecommunication service provider at the IDC, and we are working with them to set up those facilities. Recently also we sent out a request for proposal to provide access control, and we are talking here about permitting people to or not to access the airport facility. So you're going to have a system to allow those who should access to access and those who shouldn't to not be allowed to access.
Ken Thomas, a prominent businessman of Arnesville, has been freed of a charge of handling stolen property. The quantity of stolen items were removed from the home of Evelyn Jackson between March 10, 2010 and June 3, 2012, amounting to approximately $500,000. The preliminary inquiry began last week to determine whether the matter should be sent to the judge and jury for trial, but was adjourned to give the court the opportunity to visit the Calico police station to view the exhibits which were kept there. When the preliminary inquiry came up for continuation on Tuesday, May 11, 2015, prosecutor Karim Nelson told the court that based on the evidence that was presented to the court by the prosecution's key witnesses, there were not enough to proceed any further with the matter. As a result, Chief Magistrate Rayshon Brown Matthias had no alternative but to dismiss the case. In other court news, Sean Robinson, a 40-year-old resident of Mesopotamia, is now before the Serious Offences Court on 2 charges of wounding with intent and aggravated burglary. According to the police, Robinson is said to have entered the dwelling house of Shafiq Batiste of the same address on May 10, 2015, and inflicted a cutlass wound to his head, resulting in a fractured skull, along with other injuries to his body. Robinson appeared at the Serious Offences Court today and was not allowed to plead to the 2 indictable charges. Chief Prosecutor Adolphus Delpeche objected to his bail, stating that the victim, 17-year-old Batiste, is presently a patient at the male surgical ward at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital. And while, according to doctors, his condition is not deemed critical, they are still monitoring his condition. As a result, Robinson has been remanded at Her Majesty's Prison until Friday, May 15th, 2015 for a report on the medical status of Batiste. More needs to be done to educate the Vincentian public, particularly motorists and pedestrians, on road safety. That's according to Police Station Sergeant Junior Nero, who was a panelist on Hit Talk last Sunday looking at the number of road fatalities in the country. In 2014, there have been a total of 10 road fatalities, and 20 for 2015 thus far. The country has already recorded 12. Station Sergeant Nero says he believes that with proper education, some of these road fatalities can be prevented.
2014, 697 reported accident, 10 fatality. And as to the current time now, we had 6 road fatal accidents resulting in 12 persons losing their lives. Yes, it's a concern, and if it was even one reported case of one road fatality, it is still of concern to the traffic department. As a result, I see it that the police have to do a bit more of educating the public, educating civil society as to how to be safe on the road, not only for the drivers, but for the pedestrians as well. Whenever there's a road accident, even if it's a fender bender to a serious or fatal, it is for the individuals who are involved, it is emotional, it can affect them psychological and financial.
Another panelist, Director of JARIC Environment, Safety and Health Services Limited, Eric Kipps, also emphasized the need for education and road safety courses. Kipps says that defensive driving should be a major part of road safety education in SVG in order to reduce the number of accidents on the roads, such as fender benders to full-on collisions.
Road safety education has to start from the schools. It has to start from the preschool. All right. Let's say, take an example, seatbelt use. All right. If we teach the children at preschool and in primary school about the benefits of seatbelts, then you can never drive your car with your child in that car if you're not wearing that seatbelt, because they are going to press you on it. All right, so we look at the whole education, and we think that inside of those 3 E's, the education is the lowest hanging fruit. The lowest hanging fruit here is the education. We have the enforcement issues, that I know the station sergeant will deal with. We have the engineering issues. Of course, that is probably the one that is, in most cases out of reach because of the cost associated with the engineering aspects of the roads. But the education, that is where you can make your greatest impact.
Dr. Wayne Murray, a general medical practitioner who focused on the issue of first response, says that in the event there is an accident, persons who are on the scene need to be aware of what is required of them in dealing with the victims of such fatalities.
At an accident, quite often individuals are very anxious to help, and everyone knows where they need to get to. In their own opinion, most person thinks, hey, I need to rush to Milton Cater Memorial Hospital, irrespective of where the accident is. So therefore, sometimes you can cause more damage to a person in transporting them, because of course individuals can have back injuries or this total spinal injuries, and moving them in the back of a truck or something like that, you can cause more trouble, because this is actually well documented. People can have accidents, they felt pretty well, put them in the back of a truck, race down into town, and when the time they get there, the person can't move, because just trying to race into town, you could actually cause more damage. The next thing is that where do you, if you had to move persons yourself, and usually our recommendation is that persons should not be moved unless if it's directly it will mean life or death.
Meantime, President of the Insurance Association and manager of Century West Indian Insurances Limited, Fidel Taylor, says every effort should be made to practice road safety. Taylor says when lives are lost, this can have significant impacts on the economy, the family and society on whole, and therefore more systems need to be put in place to safeguard the country against loss of life in this manner.
I believe the alarming rate of fatality in St. Vincent should be of great concern to all of us, and every effort should be made by all the stakeholders to educate our drivers about the dangers of driving, as well as to put measures in place to prevent accidents from happening and to significantly reduce the number of accidents in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. By significantly, of course, reducing the accident rate in our country, we will also be reducing the number of bodily injuries that people sustain as a result of these accidents. And we will also be saving the lives of people, especially our youth, who we are losing in the prime of their lives, not being able to maximize their full potential, and the state being robbed of benefiting from the potential that all of these persons have carried with them to their graves, the value, and not only that, but the significance of the losses first to their families.
Inspector of Police Hawkins Nanturn has won the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police, the ACCP Top Caribbean Career Move Officer Award. Nanturn, who is in charge of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the RSVGPF, Public Relations and Complaints Department, received the award at the 30th Annual General Meeting and Conference of the ACCP on Wednesday night, May 12, 2015, in St. Kitts. He also received a prize of US $5,000. Inspector of Police Trevor Bailey placed second runner-up in the Top Crime Fighter Award category, which was won by Inspector Eddie Monlouis of St. Lucia. First runner-up in that category was Constable Milan Frank of Grenada. Vincentian Constable Cornelius Pompey, a police officer in Cayman Islands who previously worked with the RSVGPF, copped the award for Top Caribbean Community Policing Officer. Constable Sylvina James of St. Lucia captured the first runner-up position, and Corporal Stephen Billy of the RSVGPF placed second runner-up. An elated Commissioner of Police Michael Charles, whose officers received 3 of the top awards, collected on behalf of Bailey and Billy. Inspector Nanton said he sincerely thanks Commissioner Charles for nominating him for the award, as well as the other commissioners of police for the support that they have given to him since joining the police force on August 2nd, 2012. The awards were provided by Amalgamated Security, who recruited a panel of international judges to review all of the nominees. Carnival Beat is coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome to Carnival Beat. The Carnival Development Corporation today signed a new agreement with Flow SVG to provide pay-per-view broadcasts locally and regionally of the main events of this country's premier national festival, Vincy Mass. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Chairman of the CDC, Dennis Ambrose, says the new agreement is a great step forward and explains that the pay-per-view services will commence with the Miss SVG pageant slated for Saturday, May 30th.
It remains reasonable price and the promise of good quality transmission. Additionally, pay-per-view has provided the occasion to have some of our events to be shown in the Caribbean, giving wider exposure to our festival and the country as a whole, thereby being a great marketing tool. One can appreciate that it is generally a costly exercise to engage in marketing strategies, but by this medium, we can get our message out. that Vincimas is in fact the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. We have been trying on a limited scale for a number of years to sell our message across the region. For example, by advertising during the broadcast coverage of international cricket matches. But this agreement allows the direct exposure of Vinci talent to be showcased across the region in real time, happening live.
Ambrose says while the immediate benefits of the agreement may not be realized this year, for years to come the benefits promise to be substantial.
Partnership we are entering into is foreseen to be rewarding and intended to bring more visitors and returning nationals closer to Vincimas, closer to home, and to give our artists and our carnival events a greater boost. We thank Flow for pursuing this initiative. To those businesses who aspire to have regional appeal, we wish to invite you to get on board, because every level of exposure to other markets is a plus and a win-win situation.
And Country Manager of Columbus Communications SVG Limited, Christopher Gordon, says in addition to the pay-per-view service, persons can expect to benefit from what he describes as a fantastic full bundle.
Which is a bundle of 4 carnival events, one of the most popular events at significant savings to the consumer, so consumers will benefit from convenience and customer savings. Additionally, we will continue to offer the individual events as per usual, but for this year there'll be some more savings actually, so in comparison to previous years they're more affordable. So we've listened to the market, we've had lots of consultation, discussion with the CDC, and certainly for the local pay-per-view we want to ensure it's more affordable, more convenient, and just a lot more fun and a better experience for customers. So that is what I would say is the business as usual. We continue with this arrangement that started the years for the prior operator. We're happy to continue with that and to build on that, and that for me is what's important in the future. Now from a regional perspective, as you're aware, Flow is the largest video operator in the region. We want to use our technology and platform to support this local community and get exposure for Vincimas. Therefore, I'm pleased to announce that Flow customers across the region will be able to see select Vincimas events via our own TV channel. It's called Flow Channel 100. So Flow customers in Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, and Grenada can in fact see select Vincimas events on their Flow TV in the comfort of their home, and that's Channel 100.
Gordon adds that Flow will also be focused on the international broadcast of the carnival events, and states that Flow will be partnering with One Caribbean Television to spread the carnival coverage to the wider world.
What's going to happen with One Caribbean Weather is that we've worked with them and they will actually visit St. Vincent and the Grenadines. During the carnival activities, they will produce and air several short segments about St. Vincent, about the carnival, about life in St. Vincent, about the island, the beauty of the island, the culture, and so forth. And that will not only be seen on the One Caribbean television station on the Flow network as we carried, but with their partners in the United States where they're also seen. So that is also a potential audience of millions of persons. And in fact, I checked before I came and they're actually available in New York, which I understand has a significant Vincentian diaspora. So altogether, what does this mean? It means that, one, from a local perspective, we've done some work to make these pay-per-view events more affordable, more convenient. We're bundling the packages together. From a regional perspective, we're using the Flow network to ensure that Flow customers in other countries, other CARICOM entities, etc., can actually see Vincimas, see select events. We're also doing a bit of work with CDC to ensure that there's some advertising potential for the proceeds to be shared between both parties, so we're doing work on that perspective. And additionally, we've partnered with an international station, One Caribbean Television, which will be in St. Vincent, producing segments about the Carnival St. Vincent, which will be on their network a few minutes during the Carnival period.
The St. Vincent Brewery Limited is giving Hiring Beer drinkers the opportunity this Carnival season to win a grand cash prize of $30,000 in its Deal or No Deal under the Crown promotion, set to be drawn on July 8th at Carnival City Victoria Park. The brewery's commercial and brand manager, Shafia London Williams, says the Under the Crown campaign is also in celebration of the 3-decade existence of the company. She says that leading up to the grand draw, persons can win t-shirts, carnival costumes, and cash prizes.
The Carnival promotion, 30 years and we're proud, is an Under the Crown promotion. Persons can look under their crowns and win instantly Highroom branded gifts such as t-shirts, free high room bears, carnival show tickets, costumes, and cash prizes. We have cash prizes in the denomination of $5, $10, and $30.
London Williams says the promotion, which will run for 8 weeks, will allow persons to immediately cash in monies now or hold on to their crowns for a possible entry into the grand prize draw.
Persons who get a crown with 3 diamonds, just as the diamonds on the flag, they get an instant pass into the final competition, and they can win instantly $30,000. Persons with the 3 diamonds can, however, trade them in, and you can trade in your 3 diamonds without the instant pass for $300. So if you get 3 diamonds under the crown, you instantly win $300. You can hold on to it and opt for $30,000 chance instead. This would be done at Victoria Park. That $30,000 prize will be given away at Victoria Park in the format of a live show, which we call Deal or No Deal. So a game of luck and chance.